natakot ako pag nakikita ko na kayo doon eh. Nervous na ako sa akin. Ito na sila. Ito ko na mag-walk yung bahay ko. Nakita ko yung pangalan mo doon. Okay.
Sir, clarify po, so meron ng committee report for the revocation of the franchise?
Yes. There is a motion for the approval, and after that, we suspended the hearing.
Ano po next step?
Sa committee level, aprobado na yung panukala na baguhin ang
Opo, opo, na-initiate ko sa amin after pumunta po sa Finland. So, yan ay malibagong discussion.
Kung bibigyan mo po ng chance ni Mr. Ray to explain your position sa... Kasi parang kanina pinag-uusapan pa rin yung tungkol doon sa position paper nila.
Well, ang gagawin po, yung position paper nila ay i-introduce po namin at ipapagpalit namin mga members na para mag-natin sa sila. At first na katanungan, pwede po ka rin. Yes, committee or kanina.
Sir, next clarification. So kanina meron ng urgent arrest here, pero hindi mo na
Yeah,
implemented.
well, the directive PD was for him to report him and to accompany him to the House premises so that he can answer the questions.
Kung confident are you na mako-convince mo para si
Well, we hope gagawa po niya that he sounds sincere that he will find his pastor wala ka naman tinatago.
Kaya sa
Tandaan po natin sa Parang Hills, hindi lang naman yan ang isang resolution. Marami po tayo. Meron po mga pinagawa po yung mga system na kailangan po ng kasagutan din. So lahat po yan ay hindi pa po tapos ang hindi sa issue.
ano lang yung tinatapos?
At tinapos po ito yung limitation sa franchise. Pero yung may bills pertaining to SMI, hindi pa po tapos. So meron pa po sunod yung mga hearings po. In this process, it will still be. There was no motion. There was no motion. So, she just mentioned it, pero wala akong motion na kailangan. Wala po. Wala po invitation. Well, ang ano namin is, yes, we're asking him to appear. Alam po, talagang gusto ko namin siya mag-appear. Kasi ang dami yung mga katanungan. For the past 5 months, hindi mo was so maklaro ang mga issue. And like I said, it's clear naman that we're asking the directed Saudi Army promotion, directing the Saudi Arms to escort
kasi well, the executive
na yung charter change na isusulong natin ngayon sa Kamara, ang puntirya niya ay term extension. Ilang beses niya pong binanatan si President Marcos Jr. at marami pa po siyang mga sinabi. Your thoughts po about it? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. First, before I answer, I'd like to say na on my part, dahil taga Mindanao, mahal na mahal namin si former Pangulo, President Duterte, especially for what he's done for the Mindanao region. Having said that, I will not forget a speech na sinabi niya when he was congressman ayaw niya yung trabaho dito, so hindi siya pumasok sa Kongreso, something like that. No? Whether it's a joke or if it was real, it kind of hints na maybe he doesn't or he hasn't been clarified on what's happening here in Congress. And that is, we have our legislative process. And when it comes to regular bills, that can happen in the BICAM. But if you listen to the debates in the plenary, when it comes to RBH 6 and RBH 7, there needs to be a synchronization between the House and the Senate. We cannot vote 3/4 on two different versions, because that may lead into complications and then may lead into a challenge in the Supreme Court on how we are conducting an amendment to the Constitution. So when he has that claim that this is about term extensions, etc., na biglang mamamagic ito, maybe during the BICAM, I don't see that happening. It's very clear, it's in black and white, that we're only dealing specifically with the economic provisions. And then secondly, also, what the 19th Congress is trying to do under the leadership of President Bongbong Marcos, there's no losers here. That was what's nice with what the majority leader did, and Speaker Martin Romualdez. We had the committee of the whole, and all of us were listened to the debates, and majority of the resource persons spoke positively about the change in the Constitution, specifically the economic provisions. There's been very little negative comments. The only negative comments that we heard in the debates was, one, in regards to basic education. Number two, the conduct or the manner we are amending the Constitution, if it is really in line with the 1987 Constitution. So it's the only two negative. Everything else was all positive. Advertisement, public utilities, corporate ownership, all of that was all positive. Unlike for those of us that served in the 17th Congress, it never really went into debate when we were discussing federalism. When we were discussing federalism, it might have led to also charter change. It will require charter change. And what's this? When we were discussing it, if you remember, we were all organized into 3-3-3, mga deputy speakers. So there were 3 for Mindanao. And the general template there was, that was how we were going to divide Mindanao into states, and also Visayas and the Luzon region. Sa amin, it was like Eastern Mindanao and Western Mindanao, and then you have the BARM. When you're talking about charter change for federalism, it was very clear in our internal discussions, you will have big winners and big losers. For example, if you merge together Caraga, Davao, and Soc-Sargent, then you have big fishing industry in Davao City, and then mining in Caraga. What's in the Zamboanga Peninsula? Coconut land. So, that proposition of charter change for the purpose of federalism is a little bit more detrimental to various parts of our country. The proposition for charter change under the Bongbong Marcos administration, there will be winners but no losers. That's how I understand it when it came to the debate in the plenary. And last but not least, because he kind of hit the parliamentary form of government, that's not on the table. That's not on the table. It's strictly economic. But if you want to even discuss that, we have to look into the accomplishment itself of the Duterte administration. And that is the passage of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. The Bangsamoro Organic Law is actually supposed to be a template for the federal form of government. And you have a parliamentary form of government inside the Bangsamoro Autonomous Regional Government. So it's a little bit of an oxymoron for our dear former president to attack the parliamentary form of government, and then in his time, in his administration, it is one of his greatest accomplishments for the Mindanao region.
Magpipiggyback lang ako dun sa comments ni Congressman Khalid. I have, in the previous press cons, nag-statement naman po tayo na economic chacha po to. Purely economic chacha. Even if you watch the debates in the Senate, the House, wala naman pong pinag-uusapan tungkol sa politika. So, sabi nga natin during the debates, we have heard a lot of resource speakers. Even nga po yung medyo nasa negative side ng economic chacha, they were even spelling out statements na baka pwede naman kung ganito, baka pwede naman kung ganito. So, hindi pa nga totally against yung sa economic chacha because we have never discussed a single thing about anything na political, extension of terms, anything political, wala po na pag-usapan. Di ba nga po, nandito rin kayo, sinabi po natin ang political chacha po, it will come when the economy is blooming, when the economy is better. Kasi nga po, if you go to other countries, more progressive countries, nakikita po natin, parang lesser governed na po sila eh. Kasi nga po, they have better lives, they have work, they have sustainable lifestyles, mas okay po ang pamumuhay nila. So hindi na po masyado iniisip kung ano po pang benepisyo, ano pang nakukuha natin sa gobyerno. Kasi nga po, maganda na po yung takbo ng ekonomiya sila. So they're letting their leaders lead accordingly kasi nga po, nasasagot na po yung problema ng kahirapan, nasasagot na po yung problema ng education, nasasagot na po yung problema ng ekonomiya, ng sariling pamumuhay nila. So, yun lang po, in addition.
Yes, as an economist and having expertise in international finance, the political ripple that the former president, Rodrigo Duterte, admirer po ko niya, fan po ko galing sa Aklan. And what he did was a political ripple that has grave economic impact on our country. Because as an international banker, that ripple that he created may burn the house down. Sayang po, galing lang ni Presidente BBM and our honored speaker, Martin Romualdez, kadadala lang nila ng $1.7 billion. And those people that they talked to some 48 hours ago will say, whoa, wait a minute. You're having your political instability and we will withhold our investments in the Philippines. That is what happened. There will be some suspended animation from all these targeted foreign direct investments into our country with that move of our honored former President Digong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to acknowledge Ed Galvez of FBS Radio for his question.
Morning, Gongs. What are your thoughts on VP Sara's participation in the prayer rally in Manila, but in support of the SMNI, but it turned out to be anti-PBB rally? And do you think it sends a message of division? And would it be appropriate for her to resign as a cabinet member? Your message for VP Sara.
For me personally, in terms of her call for resignation, I think that is the prerogative of our president. The litmus test is when she has lost the faith and confidence of our commander-in-chief, and that is President BBM. And that will be the only time that she should really resign, do the right thing and resign, if the president no longer believes in her. Secondly, her participation in the prayer rally, I only saw tidbits of it. Who I saw on the stage were Senators Bato and Senator Bongo as far as national figures. From what I heard and I saw, VP Sara was among the crowd, talking to the people. And we don't really know what her purpose is there. I would want to believe that her purpose is to at least neutralize, the former president na wag naman masyadong masipag yung banat siya kay President Bongbong Marcos, because she is still his cabinet secretary for education. She can still do so much good for our nation. And it really was, wonderful thing for all of us, the Mindanaoans, I think also the Visayans, and also for the Ilocanos, Northern Luzon, to see the two together, the unity. That is the greatest, I think the closest in modern history where the Philippine people as a nation were united. So I would not want to give up on that dream na sinasabi ng mga tao na wala na yung unity. I wouldn't want to give that up on that. I hope that being, his daughter, our former president, President Duterte, will somewhat be, in a way, parang tapered down, or like a dialogue and open, because this doesn't help anyone. This is and again, this is the holy month of Ramadan. For most of us Muslims, for all of us Muslims, this is a month of peace, a month of prayer. And I'm sure that on behalf of all Muslim Filipinos, what's in the bottom of our hearts is that our nation will succeed in moving forward peacefully and united, both Muslims and Christians alike. And it will be very difficult for us to do this when two great leaders are fighting against each other, President Bongbong Marcos and former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. In regards to the prayer rally, is it an opposition? Is it really something to be worried about? Kami naman, we're from Mindanao. So, basta lang walang armas, walang crossfire, walang violence, and there's no harm. It's part of our democratic process for us to have freedom of prayer, freedom of opinion, freedom of speech, and in the end of the day, I strongly believe that the majority of the Filipino people will rally with our President Bongbong Marcos, because he's doing the right thing.
Are there any additional remarks from other guests? Okay. Billy Vegas from Abante Politico for his question.
Ipa-follow up ko lang po, baka lang po meron kayo message, iba pang message kayo, kaya former President Duterte at kay Vice President Sara, kasi it turned out na yung mga pinupuntahan nilang prayer rally nagiging anti-BBM rally.
Yun nga, for me, parang I really don't understand the concept of the prayer rally kasi it's becoming a different kind of rally. Minsan mellow, minsan mainit na, umiinit. Pero the personalities who are there should be the personalities who are first and foremost na dapat nandyan na tutulong sa gobyerno para ayusin yung mga problema natin. Hindi yung dadagdagan pa yung mga political tension. But for me, they should also, of course, lahat naman tayo, walang monopoly ng love of country. Lahat yan, mahal nila yung bansa. Pero, mas marami pong malalaking problema yung bansa kaysa mag-uumpisa tayo. We stir the pot with political problems, political accusations, yung mga hindi na po kailangan na sinasabi sa entablado. Na syempre, it will only agitate the public, yung mga nagrarally. So, I encourage them na tulungan natin yung gobyerno natin, tulungan natin si Presidente Bongbong Marcos kasi ang aga po ng politika. Napakaaga po. So, tulungan po natin yung bansa.
Yes, akala ko economics lang to. Naging politika. In terms of statistics, in the history of the Filipino, nakikita po natin na mapagbigay ang Pilipino. So, sa midterm period ng isang presidente, pinagbibigyan po ng Pilipino. So, lahat po na nag-atake sa isang presidente during the midterm ng presidente, yung first 3 years niya, ay bumabagsak sa popularity, bumabagsak sa politika. So, sabi nga ng kasama natin, na Assistant Majority Floor Leader Ortega, napakaaga, 2025 ang eleksyon. Ngayon na nagrarally na sila. And kung bumalik tayo sa EDSA Revolution, ayun po ang inumpisahan. So, it's antique page. They cut and paste and try to put in this time madali ang social media. So, hindi na siguro natutugma. It's a contradiction in terms of personality. Nagtutugma yung prayer rally. Ngayon, na ang dami-daming potensyal na investments na nakukuha ni Presidente Bongbong. Kausap ko po mga bankero sa international at saka they are bullish on our economy because we have one of the most populated countries in Southeast Asia. We have an educated workforce at tumataas na po ang sweldo sa China. So, nagsisiling pata na yung mga manufacturing jobs to Southeast Asia. Mas gusto ng mga investor dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya economic provisions ng konstitusyon ang binibigyan natin ng atensyon. So again, sana yung mga political rallies according sa COMELEC period na lang, saka na muna mag-rally-rally at saka hindi na gamitin in God's name yung mga whatever personal or political objectives. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Billy.
Kay Congas, boss, yung ano ba, yung bill na in-approve kahapon, will it go sa regular bill? I mean, kailangan ba ipasa rin siya ng Senate para ma-revoke yung franchise ng SMNI?
Opo, kailangan po dumako po ng Senado to. This will pass the regular process. Kailangan basahin sa plenaryo ng Kongreso, second, third reading, at dadalhin po sa Senado.
Kung isa pa po, regarding lang po sa statement ni VP Sara, sabi niya, Kibuloy deserves fair trial daw.
Well, I think she was mentioning dapat sa korte. No, I think that's ginagalang po natin yung opinion niya. Dito naman po sa Kongreso, ang pinag-usapan po rito ay yung prangkisa ng SMNI. At ito ay binigay po ng Kongreso. Kung ito ay binigay ng Kongreso, Kongreso rin po lang ang pwede bumawin po ito. At yun naman po proseso. And as far as due process concerned, dito po sa hearing po namin, 6 months has been given, 5 months of hearing, 6 hearings were conducted, and palagay ko mas marami nga sinabi yung kampo ni SMNI kesa po sa mga congressmen. Talaga po lahat po ng kanilang paliwanag ay ating pinakinggan at bibigyan po natin lahat ng katanungan nila.
Thank you. From Inquirer Online, Gablalo, you're recognized.
Sir, 2 questions sana. First of all, do you think yung last night's prayer rally in support of Pastor Kibuloy and SMNI is an effort to undermine the legislature's authority, particularly the Senate? Kasi Senate Committee on Women, Children, and Family Relations has already sought for an arrest order against the pastor. Do you think it undermines the authority of the legislative, sir?
Definitely, we cannot speak for the Senate. And I think that question should be also addressed to the senators.
Kung yung pangalawa po sir, do you think there's a greater chance for the pastor to show up in the House hearings? Kasi parang may promise po si Atty. Topacio na he'll try to convince si Pastor Kibuloy to attend. Kaso sir, on another side, paano mangyayari doon kung a-attend siya dito? Pwede ba siyang damputin ng Senate Sergeant at Arms?
Palagi ko hindi. No? Pero alam po niyo, yung the mere fact na nagbigay pa rin ng parugit ng committee ng 3 araw on the request of Atty. Topacio just shows you kung gaano mong kaluwag ang committee sa pagbibigay po ng lahat ng request nila. Maski na po sa 5 buwan, minsan hindi dumating si Pastor Kibuloy, inimbitahan po siya 4 beses, ay pinagbigyan pa rin na on the special request of Atty. Topacio na bigyan po hanggang Biyernes. So talaga po lahat po ng pagbibigay at luwag ay binigay po namin during the 5-month hearing. Nagsimula po kami November at kahapon lang po na decision.
Sir, do you think he'll show up? I mean, we cannot speak for the pastor, but do you think there's a possibility that he will show up?
Habang may buhay, may posibilidad.
Diba?
Are you okay with your questions, Gab? Thank you. Polling question from Joby Marie de la Cruz of Business Mirror for Counted Respo. Considering the decline of 6.6% in full year 2023 foreign direct investment, net flows to $8.9 billion from the recorded $9.5 billion in 2022, exacerbated by global uncertainties that discourage foreign investors, as reported by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. How could potential revisions to the Philippine Constitution be instrumental in mitigating or addressing this contraction of FDI net inflow, sir?
Napakagandang question po yan. History, as we know it now, is not the history that the framers of our 1987 Constitution held. Ang paggawa nila ng Constitution doon ay inward-looking. They were hoping, aspiring that the capital investment required will be generated by Filipinos in the Philippines. So, na-realize natin ngayon, from the 9th Congress to the 19th Congress, we do not have enough capital. It takes 1.1 billion pesos to create one job. 16 million, 11 million underemployed, another 4 million unemployed, 16 million, wala pong 11 million near poverty, those who are earning daily wage. So, tapos another 5 million unemployed. So, ang hirap-hirap po na mag-wish lahat ng policy makers na sana bigla na lang mag-appear ang pera para mag-create ng jobs. Hindi po ginagawa yan. Mga katabi natin mga bansa, nagpalit ng konstitusyon 9 times sa ang Indonesia, 20 times sa Thailand, Vietnam. So, ayun po, sila outward looking. They created export industries. Outward looking, tayo inward looking. So, ayun po, sunod-sunod na mga batas na bills na pinasa namin dito sa Congress. Mula noong 9th Congress, 19th Congress, 382 bills trying to remove the restrictions in the Constitution. Ayun lang po ang ginagawa natin ngayon. Sana ma-realize ng mga ibang tao, lalo na mga ekonomista sa Senado, mga businessmen, na alam naman nila na inward looking. Kaya palagi sila kumukuha ng mga partners. But they are limited up to 40%. So, pag binuksan po natin yan ay makikita natin ang garden with low-hanging fruits. Pupunta dito yung Japan, Germany, magta-transfer sila ng mga manufacturing jobs dito sa Pilipinas kung bubuksan lang natin talaga genuinely ang ating ekonomiya. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Kat Forbes from Radio Pilipinas.
Good morning po, Kongs. Yung question ko po, particular po kay Kong Khalid. Sir, tanong ko lang po, ano po ba yung ating mga security measures na pinapatupad ngayon, specifically dahil sa observance po ng Ramadan and by next year po meron po tayong barn elections po. Lalo na po, previously po meron pong naging at pag-atake po sa Lanao del Norte. So ano lang po yung mga security measures natin?
Thank you for the question. First, in regards to security measures, during the holy month of Ramadan, this is a time na we expect our Muslim brothers, especially some yung mga extremists, if they really are Muslims, dapat wala nang ganito. I-ambush nila yung mga police, yung mga military namin. This is supposed to be parang ceasefire month. No? But what was worrisome about that ambush, there were pursuit operations, and if I'm not mistaken, the leader of that ISIS group surrendered to the provincial government. Bata pa sila, mga 15 years old. They can't even speak Tagalog. They can't speak only Maranao. And that's proof that these groups, extremists, are staying in the pinakabukid na area, away from everyone. Now, that is a symptom of a failure within the BARM area, which we are addressing under EDCOM 2. This is the failure of basic education. And I hope nobody will take offense to this. It's an old historical culture or mindset na the Philippines is a Catholic country, therefore Catholic education. So the very traditional mindset, Muslim Filipinos in the bukid, in the far out areas, might feel na they don't trust sending their kids to DepEd schools. They would prefer their kids go to madrasas or the Madari system. And this is what we need to focus on. Which brings us into the debates for RBH 7. Last time I was here, I said, somebody asked me a question and I answered na we're really limited with funds in the government. If we are going to solve the Madaris issue within the BARM, we will need so much funds. But if you look at the debates, outside of the BARM rin, kailangan po, daming pondo rin ang kailangan ng education. I think they were saying 300 billion last night. This is why we need partners in development. And when you open up our constitution to provide more opportunities for foreigners to come and help our far-flung areas, and one specific example is the Muslim world. Saudi Arabia, daming pera, Brunei, Malaysia, and in Islam we have one of the religious requirements of zakat, which is the charity. So given it's not really an investment, it's an investment for ourselves, for our religion, to come into the Philippines and help establish proper Madari system so that our children in Muslim areas can read and write Arabic and not be thrown into areas na they will end up being recruited by terrorist organizations. So what happened in Lanao del Norte, the attack, the surrender of the ISIS leaders, brings to light again the problem that we have. And how do we solve that solution? So one is that Madaris. Second is we are discussing now the part of the peace agreement and the Bangsamoro Organic Law is the transformation of the MILF base camps. There's supposed to be 10 billion a year allocated to the transformation of these base camps into peaceful communities. None has been given so far from our knowledge. So again, we have the problem of lack of government funding. this is again where we need to find ways to bring in foreigners to come in and transform these communities into economic powerhouses. Then most of those camps are fertile agricultural territory. The camp of Commander Bravo in Lanao del Norte, from what I heard, he was able to partner with GN Power Plant, who somehow, I don't know how, is involved with an American investor. And they put up a abaca plantation. So when you have economic, especially with agriculture, that can lead to development and that can lead to sustainable peace. We would like to see a time in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region where we can partner with our Muslim brothers outside other countries, Saudi Arabia, Brunei, Malaysia, Indonesia, and then have like another version of Dole, Del Monte. That is critical for the development of Mindanao because a peaceful barn, a sustainable barn will lead to a more progressive Mindanao region. So there's no strict solutions now that we can do because the problems that we're having when it comes to Islamic terrorism in the region of Mindanao is really long term. I mean, the short-term solution is pursuit operations, and I'm not in favor of the military solution. Because it will always come back every year. That's what I always warn our military brigade after the Marawi siege. Bantay mo yung mga ISIS. Sinasabi mo, mga 10 lang sila. The next year, we had a security briefing in the province. The 10 became 30. And then now, it's mga, I think the latest count was mga 300. Almost 1 battalion strong of extremist terrorists within the Lanao region. So, the military solution is not a permanent solution. A real solution is an economic solution, and that is what RBH 7 can bring to the Mindanao region.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Yes, may I add to that? The current underemployment and unemployment rate needs now $1.7 trillion just to address that. Every year, we have some 1 million college graduates. So that needs another $1 trillion. There are trillions of dollars. We had a recent our trade summit in United Arab Emirates, where I heard that United Arab Emirates are pouring in billions of dollars in Turkey, in Indonesia, and all of that. But they want to come in here, but they want to invest in what Congressman Khalid is saying. They want to invest in bar. But again, economic restrictions of the constitutions. They cannot just put in their money and have 40% equity. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Meralis Moras from PTV Board.
Hi, good morning po mga kom. Kung matutuloy po kasi inaasahang maipapasa na sa second reading today yung RBH 7 pero sa takbo ng debate may mga kumukwestiyon pa rin kung kailangan nga ba ito at makatutulong nga ba ito sa ekonomiya. Even some groups may kinakasang rally mamayang hapon dahil mukhang minamadali umano itong plenary interpellation. So for Kong Haresco, me as economist, yung sagot niyo po kung kailangan nga ba talaga ito sa ekonomiya, just to reiterate, lalo na dun sa mga kumu-question pa rin dito. And even some congressmen can comment po na yun nga kung talagang minamadali ba ito.
Nothing to do with economics. For some, it is a vehicle to prepare for the 2025 election. So, yun siguro yan ginagawa nila na rally. Siguro sunod na candle parade at saka sunod na burning of effigy. So nakita na natin yan sa history natin. But we're talking about the future of the country. And we have seen for the past 37 years, yung framers of the Constitution, they were thinking of the future, but only in terms of politics. Only in terms of politics. And they put the ultimate power on the Supreme Court. What if an investor comes in with $1 billion? And what if the future Supreme Court changes their decision na hindi na pwede pumasok sa power at saka telecoms na ginawa ni FBR noon? So, naletse-letse na yung $1 billion siya kasi doon sa Supreme Court, hindi mo ma-predict kung sino mag-ilalagay ng future president sa Supreme Court. So, economics and business, it is about expectation. It is about anticipation. So, if we remove the uncertainty of expectation and anticipation, that uncertainty and that instability, foreign investment will pour in. Because sabi nga ni Congressman Khalid, kulang sa edukasyon at sa farm. Our education secretary understands that only 1 out of 5 Filipinos pass high school. 1 out of 5. The other 4, wala na po high school. So ano nangyari from the time the Americans were governing us, where a lot of Filipinos were in the public school system, ano na nangyari? Dahil wala po tayong pera, dahil nire-restrict natin ang ating educational system. We cannot build enough school buildings, we cannot afford more school teachers. So, ano gagawin natin? So, sana mga Amerikano o European, katulad noon, pumasok din, tulungan tayo sa ating education. Madali na naman i-control yung education na yan. Titignan mo lang yung curriculum nila at saka upo ka lang naman at saka tingnan mo ba ano sinasabi nila. So, high-tech na ngayon, social media. So, hindi ko alam kung bakit we have a democratic space, freedom of speech and freedom to travel and all of that. So, okay lang mag-rally. But, sana maintindihan naman nila na yung mga seditious remark to dissemble the country, yung mga seditious remark na ginagawa nila sa ultimately sa series of rallies that they anticipate, ay huwag naman sana. Sayang po, tayo na ilang beses na sinasabi ng mga dating presidente, we are the next tiger of Asia. Naku, hanggang pusa na lang po tayo. So, pusa pa rin. Nandito na nga 110 million Filipinos sa Indonesia, 240 million Indonesia. 3:1 ang investment sa kanila. Mas mahirap ang ease of doing business sa Indonesia, pero ang dami-dami pumapasok. Bakit? Kasi palagi sila nagpapalit ng constitution kung ano ang nangyayari sa buong mundo. Ira na po for the past 50 years ang liberalization.
Yung sa part lang ng question mo, ma'am, to add, as part of the Committee on Rules, we will exhaust every maximum na time that we have to hear out, of course, all of the opinions, the remarks from different congressmen or resource persons. Kasi during the RBH committee meeting, madami pong sides yung napakinggan natin. Different sides, different opinions on the educational sector, advertisements. Pero the one thing for me that's very clear is hindi na po ganun ka-responsive talaga yung constitution natin sa current situation natin. So, it needs to be responsive para po makater yung growing problems natin, which is economic, financial. Narinig po natin yung side ni Kong Khalid. Actually, sa lahat po ng eskwelahan yan, ang laki po ng backlog natin sa mga classrooms, gano'n. And even our statistic on grade 1 students na pag hindi na po natapos mag-grade 1, hindi na po mag-aaral. Malaki po yung statistics na yun. That's why we have different NGOs fostering scholarships for grade 1 students. Kasi nga po, pag hindi na po nakatawid yung bata sa grade 1, hindi na po mag-aaral, magkatrabaho na lang. So, maagang manual labor yun. Kasi nga, because kulang po talaga sa pondo. So, the Constitution has to be responsive for us to at least malagpasan po natin yung challenges na dinaranas natin ngayon. So, thank you.
Thank you. For today.
Can I just add
Yes, sir.
one more?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Was also, from what I listen, when I listen to the debate, and this is the part of your question na may nag-rally regarding objections to the economic group amendments to our constitutions, especially in mga ibang groups. From when I was listening to the plenary debates yesterday, I remember Chair Rufus Rodriguez saying that there will be a plebiscite. And if there will be a plebiscite, ultimately that will be the end game, the output of RBH 6 in the Senate and RBH 7. Then everything that's happening now is all premature. Yung mga prayer rallies ni President Duterte saying na this is about term limit extension, yung mga rallies ng mga ibang economic groups saying that they will be negatively affected, because we will have our time as a people and as a nation to voice our personal opinion on the amendment to the Constitution in the form of a plebiscite. So lahat yan will come in due time. And that's the most important thing. And that's the beauty of where our President is leading us when it comes to charter change. Kami mag-decide. The Filipino will decide ultimately. We are just instruments, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Sana the Senate will not be a blank instrument. So, and in terms of timeline, I think they are the ones that we are waiting for. So we will exhaust as much as possible here. That's what I would like to see as far as I'm not part of the committee notes, but as a member of Congress, I would like to see our House leadership to exhaust all possible means, so all questions shall be asked, so that there is no doubt that we have done our best and we have done our duty when it comes to hearing RBH 7. Tapos we need that all up to the Senate. Sana lang we will have statesmen of senators that will cast their vote on where they stand when it comes to RBH 6 and the amendment of the Constitution.
Thank you. Joy Cantos for today's last question from Filipino Star.
Good morning po mga kong. Sir, in the implementation of contempt order versus Pastor Kebuloy, I have got a follower who's hopes and who is willing to die for him just to protect him. And some of them were in the noble profession of firearms. In case of a worst case scenario, how are you prepared when the situation turns violent and there is an staccato of fire?
Chair. But, palagi ko naman po, meron naman po tayong special forces dito sa Kongreso at may mga polis naman po tayo, no? Na pwede pong maiwasan po yan. Ang tanong mo nyo is, paano mo mag-prevent?
And how are you prepared for our worst case scenario po?
Palagi ko naman, hindi naman po tayo nakakatakot maluya, pero palagi ko, hindi naman po tayo nakakabot po. Diba?
Sir, sabi po ni BP Sara, tigilan nyo na daw po yung hearing kasi trial by publicity daw po.
Hindi ko man po narinig po sa kanya yun. At wala pa ako namabasa ng ganun. Ang amin lang po ay klaro, may bill, meron pong hearing na ginanap at ang kanyang hindi po papunta ay talagang kaduda-duda. Kasi kung wala ka naman pong tinatago, nagkasabihin ay ba't ka naman hindi magpakita? At ito ay andaan mo nyo, pinag-usapan mo natin prangkisa nila. At yan ay sa trabaho po ng Kongreso tugunan. Lahat po ng prangkisa ay trabaho po natin, yan ay privilege na bibigay po ng Estado sa kanila. And they should be responsible franchise holders. Any violation will be dealt with accordingly. So, trabaho po natin yan. Wala po tayong wala po tayong pinapaboran, wala po tayong iniipit, meron pong bill. As a matter of fact, 4 pong resolution ang nakabimbing tungkol po dyan sa SMNI tsaka kay Pastor Ibroy. Kaya yan po ay ating sisikaping matapos sa madaling panahon.
Last on my part na lang, sir. Sir, competitiveness is intertwined with the country's economy po. If we pass the RBH 7 and the RBH 6, yung economic reforms, and the foreign direct investment will come in, if it's really a vehicle for progress, do you think mababayaran na po natin yung 14.62 trillion foreign and domestic by the end of the 23, sir? Masyadong malaki na po. Paano po kayang paraan doon?
Alam niyo po, meron tayong bagong theory sa economics na mula pa noong 1998 na it's not about the amount of debt you have, it's how you grow greater than your debt. So ang US ay umihiram ng nagpiprint ng pera, mga $3 billion per day. So ang growth rate nila is 1.4% sa interest rate na babayaran nila. So yung modelo na yan ay ginamit ng Europa, ng China, ng Japan. Ayun na po ang bagong tira. As long as you grow faster than the interest rate of the bankers, okay lang yan. So ang problema natin ay pag hindi tayo mag-grow, so ang target natin, sana sundin ang growth rate ng China. Noon, lumilipad siya ng 11% per year. Umaabot lang tayo ng 6%. Ang interest rate sa bangko ngayon, dati 2% lang. Ang interest rate, 5%. 5.5. So, kailangan mag-grow tayo. Ma-hit natin ang target na 8%. Paano natin ma-hit yan? Sa United Kingdom, ang tawag sa economics, political economy. So, kabit ang politics sa economics. Kasi ang politics na nangyayari ngayon, o ini-expect na nagpapairan sa atin na dapat mature tayo. Mature tayo. So, kung nagre-reklamo ibang partners na ayaw nila mag-attend tungkol sa prangkisa nila, sana maalala nila na yung mga Lopez noong prangkisa ng ABS-CBN, nag-attend sila. So, no one is above the law. So, kung ayaw talaga nila mag-attend, so meron naman tayong judicial system. So, we have to show statesmanship kami sa Congress and give the democratic space to those who refuse to attend. So, bahala sila. Pero, huwag naman sana yun. Magkagulo yung mga rally nila kasi kabit na naman yan sa economics yung gagawin nila. So, sinisira nila yung ekonomiya na pinaghirapan mula nung panahon ni Presidente Cory hanggang ngayon, sinisira nila yung direksyon ng ating mahal na Presidente. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. We invite our honorable guests to share their closing statements if there is any. Thank you.